Only on SportsGrid.
Game time decisions. We are live on SportsGrid. Kevin Walsh, Gabriel Morency. And I got to tell you, I don't remember the last time I did a show where there were tournament games on. I know it's the play-in, and it feels so secondary to this WBC final game between the U.S. and Venezuela.
You know what's funny you say that, Kevin, because I don't think you'll find anybody that's been more into the WBC than I am. But I thought you were about to say, I don't know if I've ever been as excited for a play-in game to start as I am tonight. Because I don't know, I'm like, you know what? Let's roll. Let's do this thing. I'm not one of these people that breaks down whether they should be a 3 seed or a 5 seed, like 2-3 weeks. I don't want to hear from Joe Lenardi until like Saturday before the Sunday selection show. I don't do the bracketology and all this. But now that the tournament is here, and I kind of feel that it is here. I mean, Texas and NC State, that's a real tournament game tonight. UMBC, we've seen their tournament pedigree before. And in fact, UMBC, guys, these guys have not lost a basketball game in 47 days, and they're getting a point tonight. But I'm actually fired up for some college basketball. I'm fired up for March Madness, and I am also fired up for a WBC final that could turn out to be a real classic if the trend continues of just how good this tournament has been.
Yeah, to be fair, both of the play-in games are on the card tonight, right? We'll be betting these games without a doubt. It's actually funny. There was almost a moment where I wasn't going to have a bet in this WBC game because, as we've talked about it, it feels like maybe now, Gabe, they have enough information to where I don't feel like they've made some gigantic glaring mistake or overreaction when I look through the number. I bet the U.S. before the tournament at, I don't remember, even money, minus 110, whatever it was. So I kind of already have them a little bit tonight. It's McLean, it's Eduardo Rodriguez. And, now we have these playoff totals, right? Where we're getting 8.5, maybe a flat 9 because of the way the semifinal games have looked so far.
You know what? Last night's game was an exact carbon copy of the U.S.-Dominican game, right? At which Italy was nursing a 2-1 lead. Venezuela, you could tell they were starting to tighten up a little bit. But the one thing that was different, the Dominicans got tight. They kind of lost their flair. The Venezuelans don't. And we saw the same thing, man. Venezuela were down 5-2 against Japan. I personally think, now listen, I thought the U.S. were overpriced to begin with, but here they are in a final. Now, it doesn't matter what path to get to the top of the mountain you take. They took a strange, long, winding path, but they ended up getting there anyways. But I slept on Venezuela from the start. You can find a tweet of mine from about 4 or 5 days ago in which I said, I really think I've been sleeping on this Venezuelan team. And we talk about defense and the plays that they make in the field. And also, Kevin, their resiliency. Like, you could see the Dominican Republic pretty much by the 5th and 6th inning, everybody was trying to hit a home run. You know what I mean? Like, you could tell it was like, all right, very Team Canada hockey-like, in which, what do you mean we're not winning 4-1? Like, okay, I'm Connor McDavid. I'll do this myself. And that's how they ended up losing. Connor McDavid tried to go through 3 players, and it ended up going the other way for the goal for Hughes. So, whenever a guy tries to become a hero and they tighten up and everybody starts to hit that home run, Venezuela stayed looser, Kevin. They were down 5-2 to Japan. Boom. Ended up just putting a ton of runs up on the board. They were down, 7-2, 7-3 to the Dominican Republic. Next thing you knew, bro, like, they had the bases loaded with, like, the runner, like, on third base. Right? Like, Venezuela they don't wilt under pressure. I think this is a tougher game, Kevin, and the odds makers are pricing it out to be, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that's totally fair. I think it's that element of it is sometimes difficult to figure out, right? Because they both played Italy. We saw it, right? One team got a win, one team got a loss. But
That's
one
what's
team.
fascinating, Kevin. The two teams that they only lost to, they both beat.
Yeah,
Right? You know what I'm saying? Venezuela's
it's a
only
really
lost
good point.
to the Republic, and USA only lost to Italy. They both beat the respective teams that beat each other. So I think it's fitting, and we have a rightful finalist here.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think what's so when you see these totals, though, Gabe, right, and the way this number's dropping because of the bullpens. I heard A-Rod today talk about how, I don't know if anybody will score after the 6th inning. Well, I don't know, because we're still just seeing all this. I don't want to be like, I get it. You have to be careful with pitchers, but everyone's being babied. Let's just be honest here, right? It's like, you can't use Bednar. It's the 4th baseball game in a week. They usually play 7 games in 7 days. It's an inning. I don't understand why we don't know if Mason Miller's available. I don't get it.
Miller will be
crazy.
available. So I was going to say Miller. I don't think Bednar is, but Miller will be available. But Miller's only really good and going to help you in that last spot.
You almost don't want to need Miller.
You know what I'm saying? Exactly. You got to get to that spot. It's the bridge that I'd be worried about as the game goes on. One thing, listen, McLean, his strikeouts are interesting, right? Anybody that knows his stuff, it's nasty. He's a strikeout pitcher. He's a strikeout machine. He ended up getting 4 strikeouts in his start, but he also ended up getting rocked as the game went on. And, so he ends up getting rocked, gave up 2 home runs. Rodriguez gave up 2 home runs as well, Kevin. Yet this poor bastard pitched against the Dominican Republic. So it's like, because I run, he really struggled. What do you mean really struggled? Like, he gave up 2 home runs to the Dominican Republic. Yes, he did.
So funny.
Okay. But now it's his second start. We saw it last night, with Montero, where he just sort of dug down deep, bro. I kind of get the feeling, Kevin, that the Venezuelans are looser than the Dominicans are somehow. Like I said, the Dominicans sort of got tight about it. Like the Venezuelans don't.
Because the DR wasn't an underdog anymore, right? Like all of a sudden they were like the favorites.
It was just sort of a different, like the Dominicans after sort of, it's like they won the Super Bowl after, or the World Series after every game. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Last night, the Venezuelans were all like, no, we got one more to go. Like, yeah, one more. Like, it wasn't like, yeah, okay. The Dominicans had the chance. We want the USA. Venezuela didn't do that. Venezuela were like, it's going to be a tough game, but we've got one more to go. And, you know what I mean? It wasn't like there's no sort of like there's no consolation prize for them. They've never won this thing before either, Kevin. The Dominicans have won. The Japanese have won. The Americans have won. It's 3-1-1, right? Japan's won 3 times. USA's won once. Dominicans won once. Venezuela's looking for their piece of the pie.
It's so fun, man. And it's been such a joy to kind of cover this tournament.
And it's going to be like a home game for Venezuela tonight. Let's be real, Kevin.
That is part of it, Gabe. I don't know. I give the Venezuelan crowds, even Puerto Rico, the DR credit. I don't know what the U.S. is supposed to do. Where are they supposed? Gabe, the game is in America. Like, I understand. Where's the game supposed to be? Iowa? Nebraska? Where's the game have to be for them to actually feel like they're playing a home game?
It's by design, though. It's by design. And I hate to say this, but the USA played, 4 games in Houston, Texas?
Yes.
Out of the 4 games, there were fans at one of them, the Mexico game. You know what I mean? So let's give credit. It's weird because Miami is a cesspool waste of time in Major League Baseball. Like they don't draw. Nobody cares about baseball there. Nobody cares about the Marlins. You know what I mean? More people care about Florida Atlantic football than they do the Miami Marlins, right? And yet for this WBC, they could not have come up with a better spot for it. Right? Yeah. Like that's why it's there in Miami, because of the Venezuelan presence, because of the Dominican, presence, because of the Caribbean presence, and it totally works. But you're right. Like it's like U.S. soccer when they play in L.A., they get bottles of urine thrown at them when they play against Mexico. I said, man, you got to put the game in Iowa, man. You know what I'm saying?
We're playing Buffalo.
I love these tournaments. I love the Olympics. I love NFL drafts. I love like events. I love like the UFL, arena football.
Yeah.
Dude, the sports books don't have algorithm computers for this, Kevin. They don't freaking know. How the hell is a sports book supposed to set a number for this? They didn't.
Yeah.
Dude, the FanDuel had USA at -5.5.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Well, still, even though he gave up that home run, Tom, you know the number's going to be there. If he stays healthy, who's touching that guy?
Well, you mentioned him. The only player I've interest in betting on for the AL Cy Young this year would be Brian Wu. And it's a combination of everything. It's a combination of the odds. It's a combination of his underlying skill set, where I believe he's trending in terms of his career.
Pro Baseball Today. Only on SportsGrid.
I wait until I get the tournament bracket. Then you'll see me start to talk about who makes a run, who's right to get picked off. You go back to last year, look at St. John's, right? They were on a roll. They got Arkansas, who was a better version of St. John's.
College Basketball Today. Only on SportsGrid.
On the Thunder side, while they haven't had their stars totally for the entire regular season, they're still 3-4 games ahead of where the Spurs are, and that says a lot. Without SGA, without J-Dub, who's missed a large chunk of the year, Chet missed some time, for them to be still good enough to keep winning and stacking these wins, it means something, and it's actually building confidence for those others.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Game time decisions. I'm almost too excited for the games tonight because I forgot, at least in my household, probably the most important thing. Happy St. Patrick's Day to everybody out there. I know the Walsh family, they are celebrating appropriately. They wanted to make sure that on behalf of the household, we said a happy St. Patrick's Day to you. So they're ready to go. My dad's decked out in all green. I think he's got a shamrock chain on. It might be a normal Tuesday to some, but not in the Walsh household.
So it's acceptable to be intoxicated in the Walsh household today, you're saying?
Yeah, listen, as soon as this ends, you know what I mean? We're going to have to, just pour a little something, right? Get nice and loose for the U.S.-Venezuela game. They might already be ahead of the count. We had corned beef last night in the house, so that's just kind of how it is. What I wanted to ask you, Gabe, with the World Baseball Classic, though, is a market actually that I don't think we've talked a lot about, despite the fact how often we cover this, is the MVP market, where it's Judge, Anthony, and Witt as the top three American choices, and then it's Ronald Acuna Jr. on the Venezuelan side, Michael Garcia, Luis Ariz, all getting some level of consideration here. And it's hard for me to know how much of this award will be decided tonight. Where is it just going to come down to who has the big hit, the big home run in this game? Or is there an argument that Judge is the captain, he's made big plays in a few games, and he should have a shorter number because if they win it, it's going to be Aaron Judge?
It's a great question, Kevin. Normally, Super Bowls, NBA Finals, it's pretty clear cut, right? There's a body of work throughout the playoffs. There's the personality. It's built in. It's like the MVP in a regular season. It's sort of built in, and the media votes for this. Good point as far as Judge. Because, I'm old enough to remember like 5 days ago, Kevin, when Judge was getting ripped online and he's a choker and he doesn't play well in big games, right? And here we are right now. He's on the verge of winning the WBC as the team captain. And I think the defensive plays that he's made have to be brought up into the part of the conversation. But I think the media almost feels as though they want to give him something. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, we've been hard on him. He's lost World Series. He's done it all. There is a human element when it comes into the MVP. But with that being stated, we can't say, Oh, yeah, you know what? The Dominican aren't here, but Juan Soto hit 8 home runs, so he's the MVP,
Yeah.
right? Or Ohtani. Ohtani was great, right? Ohtani really was awesome and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He's the MVP. He didn't even make it to the semifinals, so can't give him the MVP. I think this thing's still wide open, Kevin. I think it comes down to, I think if no one does anything spectacular tonight, no one stands head and shoulders above. USA win. Aaron Judge is the MVP. Yet this door is wide open still for a 2-run home run for a high-scoring game. Listen, dude, for people who don't remember, I've been following the WBC. These two teams played in the last WBC in the quarterfinals. It was an 8-6 final, Kevin. Wow. 8-6 final. We have two pitchers that both gave up 2 home runs in 2 innings each in their last start. All right? Just because the game was 2-1 and 2-1, we see these low-scoring games last game. Oh, it's a championship game tonight. Yeah. It's also Nolan McLean and Eduardo Rodriguez starting. Against some really good hitters.
Italy last night, we were wondering if they would do it. Italy, I think Italy would be, the U.S., if they were playing Italy, would be almost minus 2,000, maybe minus 1,000. And not because of disrespect. Italy said, we don't care about the final. They threw Nola and Lorenzen back to back.
You were right when they went with Lorenzen because they said they weren't going to do it. And you know what? They did it, and that's when the wheels fell off.
Yeah, they probably overthought it, but the point is, a lot of these teams have used a lot to get here, right? Like we've talked, the U.S. does not have, just because it's the final, you could argue that these teams put a better foot forward pitching-wise in the semis than they will tonight. So
they did. That's what all teams did it. You're right. All teams just sort of said, you know what? We'll worry about it when we get there.
Yeah.
Dude, the Venezuelans used 7 relievers last night. They used their entire staff, essentially. They pulled their pitcher in the top of the second inning and then right away. Yeah. Right. They went right into the bullpen last night. Everybody's sort of all right, we'll worry about it when we get there. But from a Venezuelan standpoint, who makes the play? Right? I mean, Ronald Acuna Jr., he's the one that catches my eye here at plus 750. If you like Venezuela to win tonight, Acuna probably has to do something, right? And if Acuna does something big tonight, you get plus 750 on the price instead of plus 180 or plus 190 with Venezuela. Plus 215 number.
I would say, the one thing I would just say, and I don't know if this will factor in, but sometimes whoever's voting on this, if they are around the team, it does. The DR is about a group of guys. Venezuela is about a group of guys. There's some element where this United States team is about Aaron Judge, Paul Skeens, and then a bunch of other guys. I don't mean to take, Roman Anthony's been incredible. Yeah. Roman Anthony's been great. Gunnar Henderson
had his moment. He had a couple of big hits.
Every time they ask DeRosa about the team, he's like, Aaron Judge is the greatest leader I've ever been around. He's a monster. They keep calling him the captain. You'll notice with Venezuela, the captain is Salvador Perez because he's a legend and he's the kind of the older statesman. I feel like Judge is the captain because he's the only guy that they can all turn to a little bit to some degree there. I feel like that maybe helps a little bit. I just wanted to mention the strikeout props, Gabe, because we put them up. We always talk, so I bet McLean for 5, but on DK, that a minus 105, that is now plus 130. Some other books are at minus 150. I don't think that DeRosa is going to have the quickest hook of all time on McLean because of what we've talked about with these bullpens here. If he's pitching well, he will get to, that 65, 70 limit that we've seen from all these other guys.
I think, and I know it sounds crazy to say this because you'd want to get 5. I think they're hoping to get 3 from him. Mm-hmm. Right? One of those cross the bridge when we get there, right? He's a kid. You're dropping him in the biggest game of his life. He's a kid. You get 3 innings out of this, okay. Because honestly, we've seen a lot of pitchers, but at the same point in time, you and I talked about it. You catch on it. Christian Sanchez struggled and had 4 strikeouts in an inning. McLean got lit up. He had 4 strikeouts before he got taken out of the game. Right? Yeah. Same with Rodriguez. Rodriguez had 6 against the Dominicans.
Be right back here on SportsGrid. Back here on Game Time Decisions, we're joined by Craig Mish. You can, of course, catch here Monday through Friday on Newswire, as well as Pro Baseball Today. Does an excellent job covering the Miami Marlins. And Craig, right now, is Miami the hotbed of sports across really the entire country? Before we get to the World Baseball Classic, which has been a treat to talk about with you, the Jalen Waddle news comes out where the Dolphins make this move and they bring in a first-round pick. The Broncos side, I'm sure for many, is most interesting. But, man, the Dolphins tear down goes even another level here with moving Jalen Waddle off to Denver.
Yeah, I mean, it does make you wonder here, Kevin. You know, you start to think about it, and it does make sense for Miami. They've punted basically everything at this point. When their final number comes out for their season win totals, maybe it's already out. I mean, it's going to be 5 or less or something like that. But, you know, I think South Florida fans probably asking themselves right now, if you're going to do this, why Malik Willis? You know, why even invest in a quarterback at all? Because I would assume that some of the players that they're going to draft, which is coming up, they have 2 picks in the first round, that they'll end up playing this season and playing extensively to get some time. But you and I both know that a receiver that's generally drafted at the end of the first round or maybe even the second round doesn't always become an impact guy. Usually takes that receiver a second year. So for Malik Willis's point of view, I guess it's a really good move. I don't know that he would have had a chance to start anywhere else, but it's Miami went 99% tank here, it feels like. But the 1% is the quarterback they signed in the offseason. A little weird.
No, but Craig, I think it's a really good point. I do wonder how this lands for Malik Willis, where would the Jets have offered him a better situation just for the offensive side of the ball because they have Garrett Wilson, they have Breece Hall, you know, the offensive lines, maybe they're comparable. We'll see. But I do think it's interesting that Malik Willis might end up being the one a little confused in this relationship, because is he, Craig, going to be given a real chance to deliver on what's really a 1-year deal? Because you mentioned the potential low win total for the Dolphins. If this is a 3-win team, they are probably drafting quarterback in 2027.
Yeah, I think they'll probably do that regardless. But, you know, in terms of what you're talking about here, if he went to the Jets, then his career would be over in a year or two. So you don't want to do that. But Pittsburgh, I think, may have made more sense if they just weren't sure about Aaron Rodgers. That's like the key opening, and not a bad team with some nice little pieces that they got in the offseason too. Sure. So, look, I mean, maybe this was just the spot that he felt the most comfortable, but he's certainly going to have a lot of work to do with these receivers that he probably has never worked with before, and they could even be drafting kids coming up here soon too. So, look, Miami is just in that 1-year tank. You're not allowed to tank anymore in the NFL for more than a year. You get fired, but Miami's going to lose a lot of games this year.
Yeah, certainly seems that way. So, Craig, the World Baseball Classic Championship is set. It's the U.S. and it's Venezuela. It was an interesting game last night between Venezuela and Italy. I don't know if the decision to I am curious, Craig, did you or anyone you spoke to find the decision to move Lorenzen out of the starter role and then all of a sudden into like a bullpen role, something that they overthought a little bit, or just, hey, best foot forward and we'll figure out the championship game if we get there, which obviously they didn't?
You know what's fascinating about this is that everyone that I'm asking questions about this to inside the game is telling me that Kevin, none of these decisions are really being made by the teams in the World Baseball Classic. They're all being made outside by the other clubs. We've gotten to that point here where usage is being questioned. I'm not sure if we're going to see Mason Miller tonight at the end of the game for Team USA if they win. I don't know the answer to that yet. But they're the managers at this point, Omar Lopez for Venezuela, Mark DeRosa for U.S., are sort of hamstrung. Their game plans preparing for the game tonight is texting with the clubs, finding out who's available, who's not. So I can't indict those managers' decisions right now, especially at this stage of the game.
It's really great insight, Craig. And it's a good reminder, right? I mean, this tournament, one of the storylines of the tournaments, right, for the U.S. is D-Row. And just did he even know the rules or the format? And, he, I think, has kind of bounced back nicely in some of his decisions, but it shows that these guys don't have carte blanche over their own rosters. No. Can you give me an idea, Craig, just quickly, what you expect from tonight's game between U.S. and Venezuela?
Yeah, another low-scoring game, I would imagine. They've all been low-scoring. Lone Depot Park does usually not play to 10, 15 runs. Also, when it's cooler outside, tends to play cooler inside. We're looking at 60s outside today in South Florida, which is rare. I think it'll be a low-scoring, fun game.
Can't wait to watch it, Craig. Thanks so much. We'll be right back here on Sports Grid. Game time decisions. Oh my gosh. Gabe just said something to me that I can't believe I've never thought of. And it's the smartest, cleanest. Gabe, please. We're just talking about Kevin Durant. And last night he was awfully in the second half against the Lakers. Gabe had a really good night, I know, in the NBA, which was awesome. But I was talking about KD, not staying in Houston.
I want to retire after Houston.
Yeah,
You're like, man,
you've already got his career mapped out, Gabe. I think it's because we didn't talk about the expansion stuff.
Yeah, but doesn't it make a lot of sense, Kev? So but it's 28, 29. He's already talked about, I'm playing in the Olympics in 2028, right? So retirement isn't on KD's mind right now. Play in the Olympics in 2028 and then a 2029 season. Play where it all started, baby. Seattle. Seattle will be back in the NBA in the 2028/29 season.
I cannot stress this enough. I think I am now, and I know I've not thought about this until Gabe just said this 45 seconds ago. I now can't imagine a world that doesn't happen.
Jerseys.
Gabe, it's the only fan base that truly loves him, right? Like OKC still kind of push and pull. Right. The Warriors kind of push and pull.
It's almost like
Brooklyn.
coming home for him. Like, hey,
yes.
I'm back. You guys love me.
Yes.
I'm back. You know what I mean? But it doesn't it like I was here at the beginning, at the end, the beginning of my career, the end of here. It's just beautiful, perfect synergy that he would be back in a Sonics uniform again.
Oh, it's perfect. And it's funny. I had thought about this with Durant. Not even it's hard to see him retiring to some degree because he doesn't have like the wife and kids like all these other guys his age, right? Like LeBron and Steph, like he just has basketball, right? Yeah. Like, so I really do think that you've actually probably perfectly predicted the end of Kevin Durant's career. We'll get to the NBA in a minute.
and
Yeah.
LeBron owns the Las Vegas team. So that's sort of his timeline, right? You know he wants to. Yeah, a lot of people are going to want to, and it's Vegas, and there's no way that they're going to do that without Vegas money being part of it. So, LeBron and MGM type thing or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like LeBron.
But he has ownership groups, right? Like he weirdly has like a piece of Liverpool and different things.
Yes.
Like
he's part of the John Henry, the Fenway group. Yeah, he's part of the Fenway group as it is already. So
he'll be a part of it.
We've got the madness is set to begin. The one shining moment's got to start somewhere, Kevin, and it starts now. You know what I mean? There's somewhere in a studio. One shining moment clips and starts now. Hit record.
And it's the bison and the retrievers. Begin.
Hey, a retriever team that's had some big pedigree here, knocking off the Virginia Cavaliers. 1 seed before.
Yeah, it's funny. I do wonder, usually there's not a lot of debates about the 16s. I wonder if both of these teams are a little frustrated that they are in the play-in portion. Like at least UMBC seemingly has like an argument that they should be a 15 instead of a 16 kind of situation.
It's a fair point. So let me ask you, because I was thinking about this. You can listen, Howard. This is like the 3rd time in a row they've been back. Blankney's done a great job with this team, right? They get to the tournament, they get to this play-in, and they lose all the time. But they are a talented basketball team. But for my money, Kevin. And I don't know what your take is. For my money, I think the America East is a better conference. I'm more impressed with a 12-game win streak than an 8-game win streak. Like the 12-game win streak in the America East, I know the America East. I used to cover the Vermont Catamounts. We know New Jersey, we know NJIT, etc. Right? Like we know the caliber of basketball is good, right? And I'm not saying that Howard, I just think the kids from the East Coast, I think the conference is better, but so I looked up, if you look at the power rankings, the Ken Palm power ranking conferences, America East is slightly ahead, but they're both like bottom tier. They're the rock bottom of the conferences.
They are, but so this is a very interesting game for me, the way I kind of broke it down and bet it. But I want to just, to your point about, Howard and the MEAC, there are 8 teams in this league. There are 365, I believe it is, teams in college basketball. 6 of the 8 are 350 or worse on Ken Palm. 350 or worse. Another one of them is like 320, and then Howard's all the way up there at like 207. So this team dominating this conference tracks. The fact that they almost have 3 losses is almost stunning to within this conference, the way it sets up. When I first looked at the game, I expected to bet UMBC. I ended up betting Howard. And it was at -110. It's moved a little bit where they're like -115. Ultimately, they're both solid, relatively speaking, Gabe. But Howard has a pretty good defense, right? And I just think having a side of the ball you can lean on in what is really a coin flip game is kind of the difference maker here. I don't blame anybody on UMBC. You can make a pretty clean argument because I agree with you. It is a better conference. They do have pedigree as a program, but I did play the Bison, and the number has been moving that way a little bit throughout the day.
Yeah, you're right. The money has been on the Bison. I'm gonna respectfully disagree. I'm gonna be on UMBC here. What I like about UMBC, I like the conference better. We talk about it. I like the fact too, like we talk about a 12-game win streak, but nice clean wins too. Like Vermont are good guys. The Vermont Catamounts are a good basketball team. They easily handle them, like 74-59 in the conference championship game. So they're not just winning, they're winning convincingly. And what I really like about this is Jalakai King, who is their leading scorer, he had 0 points against Vermont, Kevin. He was 0 for 7 from the field. So you have your best player have his worst game of the year, and you still win by 15, 16, right? And you look at Howard, they're very dependent on Bryce Harris. So Bryce Harris, their leading scorer, I think he's the conference player of the year, actually, in their conference. So this guy's a stud. He scores 17 points a game. Yet he's kind of tailed off a little bit if you look as of late, because other teams are focusing in on him now. Now this kid, UMBC about a couple of days to say, all right, we're going to shut this kid down. What I like, Kevin, is UMBC, and there's different ways of looking at it in the tournament. You know, some teams like, yeah, you know what? I love that we got this guard that I know he's going to give me 22, like the kid on Cal Baptist, right? You know, the kid from Compton. You know he's going to give you 22 or whatever. But I like teams that are deeper, Kevin. And to me, UMBC, their leading scorer only scores 13 points a game. Everybody scores 9 points a game on this team. Yeah, I like teams like that. You know what I'm saying? They got 7, 8 kids on the team that are going to give you 10, 12, 13 points. They're very kind of interchangeable on UMBC, more of a collective team. But I tell you what, man, this Howard team, they're really getting production from a lot of people down the stretch. Cam Gill has been on fire. You know, I can't play everybody's props, but I'll tell you what, there's a kid from the Toronto area, Kevin, Osi Okoji, one of the guards on the Bison of Howard. His point prop tonight is 10.5 points. Dude, he's gone over 11 or more in 7 straight basketball games. Like his current form, he's playing like 30, 33 minutes a game. He's on the court all the time. He scored 14 in the title game, 14, 11, 16, and 18 and 20 in his last 5. But he's gone over in his last 7 as well. So I'm going to ride the hot hand here with one of the guards, Osi Koji of the Howard Bison from Brampton, Ontario, a tough neighborhood right outside of Toronto. And I'm going to take UMBC, though, to win the basketball game at +1. And the total, I'm going to wait for the in-game, Kevin.
Yeah,
I kind of lean
that's fair.
I want to wait to see how it plays out.
I'm a little, I don't know. They're doing this thing already where they're trying to say all the balls are inflated and these games are going to be disgusting and whatnot.
What, inflated basketballs now?
Yeah, they're showing. I got people sending me videos that they're like coaches dribbling pregame. The balls look overinflated. I'm like, there's no way they're using that ball. But then it's also like, you know what? Let me not bother. We're going to get into Texas NC State. I played the total in that game. Also, we'll talk a little NIT. It's live right now. George Mason at home are getting run by Liberty in their own building.
I love Liberty tonight. I got scared off by the point spread. I love these tournaments. I love the Olympics. I love NFL drafts. I love like events. I love like the UFL, arena football. Yeah. Dude, the sports books don't have algorithm computers for this, Kevin. They don't freaking know. How the hell is a sports book supposed to set a number for this? They didn't. Yeah. Dude, the FanDuel had USA at -5.5.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Well, still, even though he gave up that home run, Tom, you know the number's going to be there. If he stays healthy, who's touching that guy?
Well, you mentioned him. The only player I've interest in betting on for the AL Cy Young this year would be Brian Wu. And it's a combination of everything. It's a combination of the odds. It's a combination of his underlying skill set, where I believe he's trending in terms of his career.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
I wait until I get the tournament bracket. Then you'll see me start to talk about who makes a run, who's right to get picked off. You go back to last year, look at St. John's, right? They were on a roll. They got Arkansas, who was a better version of St. John's.
College basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
On the Thunder side, while they haven't had their stars totally for the entire regular season, they're still 3-4 games ahead of where the Spurs are, and that says a lot. Without SGA, without J-Dub, who's missed a large chunk of the year, Chet missed some time, for them to be still good enough to keep winning and stacking these wins, it means something, and it's actually building confidence for those others.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
All right, back with you right here. Game time decisions on SportsGrid. We'll go to Texas NC State in a second. Maybe we'll talk through some of the early tournament looks. But the NIT is live. Liberty's up 10. We'll see where those halftime numbers look like. There's a couple of games at 7 o'clock here. Yale, UNC Wilmington, Wichita State, and Wyoming. I played an 8 o'clock game here with Oklahoma State and Davidson. I laid 6.5 with the Cowboys. This was 8.5. Came down to 6.5. I think in some other spots it's back up towards that 7.5. OSU just has too much firepower here. They're a top 10 team tempo-wise. They can score it. Davidson has pretty much been rolled by any tournament-ish type team that they've played. I know Oklahoma State's a little bit off of that, but not that far removed. So I laid 6.5 tonight, Gabe, in the NIT with Oklahoma State. Did you end up playing any of these other NIT options here?
Yeah, you know what? I'm upset with myself because I did like Liberty tonight, and I got scared off by the fact that we were only getting 3.5 points. But one thing I want to bring up, an NIT tip, so to speak, here, guys, when it comes to like a March Madness game or a Howard, like a good example of Howard and UMBC tonight. Like you said, there's been some movement on Howard today. It's not sharp money. It's like the only NCAA tournament. It's the first tournament game. And now Johnny Public and Susie Halcoat and everybody and their dog are betting on these games now, right? So when it comes to the NIT, this is where the pros are betting, right? This is where the sharps are actually betting. Like nobody even knows. If you told people tonight, you're ready for the big college basketball game tonight, they wouldn't think Steve F. Austin and Tulsa. You know what I mean? Like, so basically it's only the gaming world and the gambling world that are involved with these NIT games, CBI games, Crown and Vegas games, whatever, all these tournament games. So the line movement, you can actually respect it more. And I've noticed, like, people pounced on Liberty. Liberty were getting like 5.5. Next thing you know, it was 3.5. And look, they're winning the game outright right now. Here's another one, Kevin. Very similar situation. UNC Wilmington getting 4.5. Part of me is like, how come we're not getting more here at Yale? Yale have to be gutted and devastated. They were supposed to win. They were dominant all year in the Ivy League. They fell apart late. They blew a 6-point lead in the last 38 seconds of the game against Penn. And now you're playing at Yale. How many students are really going to freaking be there tonight and care about this? And you got a UNC Wilmington team that's pretty good coming in here. I like UNC Wilmington plus the 4.5 there, Kevin. I think they're live. I think Stephen F. Austin are live at Tulsa tonight at +7. And I tell you what, I do like UC Irvine to beat UNLV tonight, but out of spite, I got to take South Alabama +18 against Auburn. There's another one, too. How excited are Auburn fans getting? It's going to be an empty arena, Kevin. And then the people are there are going to be like fire pearl. They're not going to be happy they didn't make, like, there's no support for the NIT in Auburn, Alabama tonight, let me tell you.
So I was trying to really look into that game.
Let me just quickly say, and if you're South Alabama, you get fired up for a game. You're in-state. This is in-state, right? You know what I mean? You're like, this would be big for us. It's like, it's NIT. They don't care. We do. And we're getting 18 points. I got to roll the dice with the Jags tonight.
This happened to, who did they lose to? Robert Morris. 1 year Calipari and Kentucky were in the NIT. They accepted the bid. They got rolled up in the first game. And I think the only way you can bet it is take 18.5. Look at the other numbers that we have in this tournament right now. 1.5, 2.5, 7.5, 7.5, 5.5. I mean, I understand that the number's there for a reason, and Auburn is of a level that they are capable of beating this team by 25. But you have to care.
If motivated, exactly.
Auburn's best player, Keyshawn Hall, their leading scorer, there's been some fit stuff that I've seen people worry about with him, right? Tahad Pettiford has to already be figuring out where he is going to play basketball next year.
That's what I'm saying, guys. Guys on Auburn right now aren't thinking about, you know what, we can salvage this year with a nice NIT run. They're thinking, I'm getting the hell out of here. I want to play for the Texas Longhorns next year. All right, I'm out of here. I'm transferring to Florida. Right, I'm leaving. I'm not staying here with this Coach Pearl stuff. It's a sinking ship. Like you said, Kevin. Yeah, they could if this is the first game. You know what I mean, regular season game early in the season. Everybody's in a good mood. They win by 26. now, like I said, and if you're this is a 21-11 South Alabama team too, Kevin, right? So if you're South Alabama, it's a statement game for you. You're like, yeah, we don't get to play Auburn ever. Now we get to play them. Let's show them something.
It's such a good point. Like, this is a big, if it's respectfully, you're playing Seattle, right? If you're South Alabama, you're playing Seattle. It's, okay, right? Auburn's a big deal. They're going to have fans at this game. The thing is, and the reason I stayed away from it is Auburn is the best team in this competition. And if Pearl can get through to these guys,
yeah,
they can roll. And again, Pearl has to try. This matters a lot to him, right? Like, I agree with the players. Point. For the kids, it doesn't matter. But this means look, I don't think they want to fire Bruce's kid after a year, but he's on the hot seat entering next season. Right?
Imagine if they lost outright tonight. Then it'd be a different conversation.
I think there could be. Right. But if they go out there and they dominate the NIT, they might have his back. And they be like, you know what? We got shot by the committee, and maybe dad didn't help out by being on TV. Like, we're gonna be fine here kind of situation. Again, it's really funny. It's a great night of sports.
You're right,
I cannot wait to watch this game.
We're going to find out what that room thinks about him. Point blank. Like with the coach. Because as you stated, if you're a kid, you got whatever, dude. You already were paid. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, on your ass. Like, hey, I'm going to the NBA or on transfer. I got paid. My NIL check came through. My job's not on the line. The coach's job is. So if the kids like the coach, right, it'd be like, man, this is garbage. Our coach is getting ripped publicly all the time. We're getting ripped publicly. We're getting mocked. So do the kids in the room have pride for their team, or are they thinking, I don't care. I don't even want to be here anymore. I kind of get the feeling it's more, I don't care and I don't want to be here anymore. That's what I think.
Yeah, I think we're going to find out a lot in that game. Early Bison 9-8 lead. Your boy from Ontario with a quick 3 points as well. So we'll get to the NBA card, rest of the picks on the other side. I love that you found a guy.
I love these tournaments. I love the Olympics. I love NFL drafts. I love like events. I love like the UFL, arena football.
Yeah.
Dude, the sports books don't have algorithm computers for this, Kevin. They don't freaking know. How the hell is a sports book supposed to set a number for this? They didn't. Yeah. Dude, the FanDuel had USA at -5.5.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Well, still, even though he gave up that home run, Tom, you know the number's going to be there. If he stays healthy, who's touching that guy?
Well, you mentioned him. The only player I've interest in betting on for the AL Cy Young this year would be Brian Wu. And it's a combination of everything. It's a combination of the odds. It's a combination of his underlying skill set, where I believe he's trending in terms of his career.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
I wait until I get the tournament bracket. Then you'll see me start to talk about who makes a run, who's right to get picked off. You go back to last year, look at St. John's, right? They were on a roll. They got Arkansas, who was a better version of St. John's.
College basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
On the Thunder side, while they haven't had their stars totally for the entire regular season, they're still 3-4 games ahead of where the Spurs are, and that says a lot. Without SGA, without J-Dub, who's missed a large chunk of the year, Chet missed some time, for them to be still good enough to keep winning and stacking these wins, it means something, and it's actually building confidence for those others.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Game time decisions here on a Tuesday night. Tomorrow, we'll have a couple of play-in games. We'll also have a little bit more runway to put in probably some of the earlier picks for the tournament, just kind of where we are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just because obviously there's going to be games that tip off.
Actually.
Yeah.
We'll do it quickly before the picks. There's a prop out there. I saw it over at Bet Online. I saw a prop out there. And all books have it pretty much. But it's basically Duke, Arizona, Michigan, -150 versus the field. It's a pretty nice trio to get. Generally, these bets are sucker bets, but you're getting Michigan, Arizona, who would play each other for the record. So you have Michigan, Arizona on a collision course, so you would have one of them if they won, and then you would have Duke on the other side of the bracket. You have 3 teams for your bet versus the field. Buy or sell that, in your opinion, Kevin?
I'm going to sell it because I'm still in on this Florida team, though if you swapped Florida in for one of Duke or Arizona and I get a bit better number, I might end up betting it. It's that I think the one thing that I'm trying to figure out this year, Gabe, to put it back to you, and we have time, do you think you will pick any of the 1 seeds to lose to an 8 or 9 seed when you start filling these things out?
No. I don't think it's happening. No. I've got 3 1 seeds.
I feel like it
and a
used
3
to be
seed
common.
in my final 4.
3 1 seeds. Okay. Who's the 3 seed?
That's as bold as I get. A 3 seed. Illinois.
Oh, wow. No love for the Gators. You were in on these Gators about 2 weeks ago, too.
I know.
But they lose.
That was bad, Kevin. Guess you living in the past, man. Like, that was bad.
Yeah. That's true. That's true. That's good. All right, let me just fly through this NBA card here quickly, Gabe. Yesterday was a fun day on the NBA. There was a couple of sides that I liked here. I played the Hornets at -5. No Bam Adebayo. This number's a little bit too light to me. With Bam out, I think Charlotte should be a bigger favorite. Remember when they were covering every single number? I feel like people forgot that a little bit quickly here. Took the 19.5 with Washington. Yesterday, they were 7.5-point dog. They lose by 8. We didn't bet it. We're betting this tonight. I think they care just a little bit more after the Adebayo situation. The Magic are getting 10. I know they lost to Atlanta. It's a back-to-back, but this team's been playing better basketball. Oklahoma City, 8-game win streak, 1-7 against the spread. They win games. They win games close, and I'm laying 3.5 with Minnesota. No Anthony Edwards. I think Julius Randle and Anthony Edwards really, really like each other. I think Julius Randle's going to be really excited for Ant to miss a week and a half. I think he's missing getting a couple of extra shots here. Phoenix is on a back-to-back, still injured. Maybe Devin Booker surprisingly misses this game. I laid 3.5 with Minnesota tonight here against the Phoenix Suns at home.
A couple of quick NHL notes, guys, and we'll get to our best bets. But some interesting things that caught my eye tonight. So the New York Islanders, 11-5 in their last 16 games. They're road favorites tonight, but like the Islanders to get it done. Blue Jackets, 15-4-2 run under Rick Bowness. All this team does is win. It's a toss-up game tonight, but I do think Columbus are going to be in this. Minnesota Wild have beaten the Chicago Blackhawks 5 straight and 9 of the last 10. Wild on a 3-game losing streak. Look for them to snap their streak tonight. And the Buffalo Sabres, 9-1 outright in their list for our boy Sam and Bill's Mafia. 9-1 last 10, 17-2-1 in their last 20 road games. Starting a 4-game road trip on the West Coast tonight. Big fork in the road in their season to keep this rolling. They understand how big this game is tonight. Give me the Sabres in Vegas. But, all right, WBC. Hey, give props to the U.S., right? It was a long, winding path, but here they are in the final right now with an opportunity to win. But I can't pass up Venezuela plus 215. I just can't. Give me Nolan McLean over 4.5 strikeouts. Give me Eduardo Rodriguez over 4.5 strikeouts. Give me the Texas Longhorns plus a point. And give me Texas and NC State. Me and every other person. I don't know how this total's not 200, Kevin. I haven't heard one person say they like the under tonight.
Gabe, you know what? You want to really reinforce every other person.
Hey, they played earlier this year. It was 100 to 97, right? They got 197 points. And NC State are 7-3 to the over in their last 10. Texas are 7-3 to the over in their last 10. This game should be a track meet.
the total's dropped about 5-6 points. It's on Chris's best bet, little crew best bets here. He's got the over there, by the way. Yarnell Sabres, obviously. AJ, right back where you want him, Gabe.
Oh, yeah.
Right back where you want him with Howard. And then I didn't even mention it. I also bet the NC State Texas total at 157.5. So listen, maybe we can all just get this right, but it feels like we're gonna have to bet an in-game 138.5 and just deal with it.
It's
here.
almost too like how are they doing this to us? Like, and nobody likes the under.
I'm gonna bet it
total
again.
is
I don't care. I'm betting it again. 165 tonight.
I love these tournaments. I love the Olympics. I love NFL drafts. I love like events. I love like the UFL, arena football.
Yeah.
Dude, the sports books don't have algorithm computers for this, Kevin. They don't freaking know. How the hell is a sports book supposed to set a number for this? They didn't. Yeah. Dude, the FanDuel had USA at -5.5.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Well, still, even though he gave up that home run, Tom, you know the number's going to be there. If he stays healthy, who's touching that guy?
Well, you mentioned him. The only player I've interest in betting on for the AL Cy Young this year would be Brian Wu. And it's a combination of everything. It's a combination of the odds. It's a combination of his underlying skill set, where I believe he's trending in terms of his career.
Pro Baseball Today. Only on SportsGrid.
I wait until I get the tournament bracket. Then you'll see me start to talk about who makes a run, who's right to get picked off. You go back to last year, look at St. John's, right? They were on a roll. They got Arkansas, who was a better version of St. John's.
College basketball today. Only on SportsGrid.
On the Thunder side, while they haven't had their stars totally for the entire regular season, they're still 3-4 games ahead of where the Spurs are, and that says a lot. Without SGA, without J-Dub, who's missed a large chunk of the year, Chet missed some time, for them to be still good enough to keep winning and stacking these wins, it means something, and it's actually building confidence for those others.
Newswire.